Stop letting your feelings run your ambitions. Ladies and gentlemen, if there is one thing that quietly steals more dreams than failure ever could, it is this: letting your feelings decide your future. Now, feelings are powerful. They are real. They are human. But here is what you must understand. Feelings are temporary, while your ambitions are supposed to be permanent. And if you allow something temporary to control something permanent, you will always live below your potential. You don't feel like getting up early. You don't feel like working on your goals. You don't feel like practicing your skills. You don't feel like staying disciplined. But success is not built on how you feel. Success is built on what you do despite how you feel. Your feelings will tell you it's too hard. Your ambition says it's worth it. Your feelings say rest today. Your ambition says build today so you can rest tomorrow. Now, I'm not saying ignore your emotions. I'm saying don't promote them to leadership. Feelings make wonderful passengers. They make terrible drivers. If you let your moods control your actions, your life will become inconsistent. And inconsistency is the enemy of greatness. The man says, I'll work when I'm motivated. But motivation is a visitor. Discipline is a resident. The woman says, I'll start when I feel confident. But confidence comes after action, not before it. You see, ambition requires structure. It requires commitment. It requires doing the work on the days you don't feel like it. There will be mornings when your bed feels more powerful than your goals. There will be evenings when distraction feels easier than discipline. There will be moments when quitting feels reasonable. But let me tell you something important. The difference between winners and losers is not feelings, it's management of feelings. Successful people feel doubt. They feel fear. They feel fatigue. They feel discouragement. The difference is they do not bow to those emotions. You must learn to say, thank you for the opinion, to your feelings, and then proceed with your plan. Ambition requires maturity. Maturity is when you choose what you want most over what you want now. What you want now is comfort. What you want most is achievement. And those two rarely live in the same house. If you let comfort make decisions, you will wake up years from now wondering where your ambition went. Your future is built in small moments of decision. When you don't feel like reading, but you read. When you don't feel like exercising, but you train. When you don't feel like practicing, but you improve. Each time you act against emotional resistance, you strengthen your character. And character, ladies and gentlemen, is more important than mood. Feelings fluctuate like the weather. Ambition must stand like a mountain. You cannot say, today I feel inspired, so I'll chase my dream. Tomorrow I feel discouraged, so I'll pause my dream. That is not ambition. That is emotional negotiation. Ambition says, this is who I am. This is what I'm building. And I will continue. Some days you will feel powerful. Some days you will feel weak, but your standards must not change with your feelings. If you only work when you feel good, you will accomplish very little. If you work when you feel committed, you will accomplish extraordinary things. Learn this principle. You don't have to feel good to do good work. Action often creates emotion. Movement creates motivation. Progress creates confidence. But waiting creates nothing. Your feelings are reactions to conditions. Your ambition must be stronger than conditions. The economy may change. People may doubt you. Results may be slow. Energy may drop. But your commitment must remain. And here's the truth most people don't like to hear. Success is boring sometimes. It is repetitive. It is routine. It is disciplined. And feelings crave excitement. But ambition thrives on consistency. You must decide, will you be ruled by excitement or driven by purpose? If you want to achieve something extraordinary, you must build emotional mastery. That means not quitting when you're frustrated, not slowing down when you're discouraged, not giving up when progress feels invisible. Your feelings will exaggerate problems. Your ambition must magnify possibilities. You are not your mood. You are not your temporary discouragement. You are not your momentary doubt. You are the architect of your future. And architects do not stop building because they feel tired. They follow the blueprint. Your blueprint is your goals. Your blueprint is your vision. Your blueprint is the life you promised yourself you would create. So the next time you say, I don't feel like it, replace it with, but I'm committed. Commitment is stronger than emotion. Let feelings inform you, but never control you. Because if you master your emotions, you master your direction. And if you master your direction, you master your destiny. Ambition is too valuable to be handed over to a passing mood. Stand guard at the door of your mind. Let discipline speak louder than desire for comfort. Let purpose speak louder than fear. Let long-term vision speak louder than short-term emotion. And when you do that, when you finally stop letting your feelings run your ambitions, you step into a new level of power, a power called self-control. And self-control, ladies and gentlemen, is the foundation of all lasting success. Your feelings will come and go, but your ambitions, they deserve leadership. One of the greatest challenges you will ever face is not the economy, not your competition, not your background. It is your emotions. And if you do not learn to discipline your emotions, they will quietly sabotage your ambitions. You see, feelings are natural. We all have them. Some days you feel inspired. Some days you feel tired. Some days you feel confident. Some days you feel uncertain. That's part of being human. But success does not ask how you feel. Success asks what you are going to do. If you build your life on emotions, your results will rise and fall like the weather. And you cannot build a great future on unstable conditions. Think about it. If you only worked when you felt motivated, how many days would you actually work at full capacity? Motivation is wonderful, but it is unpredictable. It visits you. It does not live with you. Discipline, on the other hand, is something you choose. It's not a feeling. It's a decision. And decisions shape destiny. The amateur says, I'll do it when I feel ready. The professional says, I'll do it because I said I would. That's the difference. Feelings will tell you to sleep in. Discipline will get you out of bed. Feelings will tell you to skip the workout. Discipline will lace up your shoes. Feelings will tell you to postpone the work. Discipline will sit you down at the desk. Now here is something important. Discipline is not punishment. It is self-respect in action. When you follow through on your commitments regardless of mood, you are sending a powerful message to yourself. My word matters. My goals matter. My future matters. Every time you give into emotion, you weaken that message. Every time you act with discipline, you strengthen it. And strength of character is built in moments when you don't feel like doing what needs to be done. Anyone can act when they feel good. That requires no maturity. That requires no growth. But to act when you feel discouraged, when you feel bored, when you feel tired, that's where greatness begins. Because greatness is not emotional. It is habitual. You must understand that feelings are reactions. Discipline is creation. Feelings react to circumstances. Discipline creates new circumstances. If you wait to feel confident before taking action, you may wait forever. Confidence comes from doing the work. It comes from keeping promises to yourself. It comes from repetition. A person who says, I don't feel confident enough to start, is allowing emotion to block opportunity. But the disciplined individual says, I will start and confidence will catch up. And it always does. Let me tell you something else. Emotions are often loud. Discipline is usually quiet. Emotions shout, this is uncomfortable. Discipline whispers, stay with it. Emotions scream, this is too hard. Discipline calmly replies, hard is part of the process. If you allow the louder voice to win, you will live a reactive life. But if you train yourself to listen to the steady voice of discipline, you will live a directed life. Directed people arrive at destinations. Reactive people drift. Your ambitions require structure. They require daily deposits of effort, and those deposits must be made whether you feel enthusiastic or not. Success is not an event, it is a process, and processes demand consistency. Consider this, the farmer does not plant crops only when he feels inspired. He plants because it is planting season. He waters because crops require water. He works because harvest depends on it. If he waited for emotional excitement, there would be no harvest. Your goals are no different. If you want financial freedom, you must manage your money consistently, not emotionally. If you want better health, you must treat your body consistently, not emotionally. If you want stronger relationships, you must invest time and care consistently, not emotionally. Consistency beats intensity. A burst of motivation may give you one productive day. Discipline gives you productive years. Now, does this mean you will never feel discouraged? Of course not. You will. You're human. But maturity is learning that feelings do not get a vote in your commitments. You made a decision. You set a goal. You created a vision for your life. That decision must be stronger than today's mood. Because moods change, vision should not. If you let your emotions determine your actions, you will constantly start and stop. And starting and stopping is exhausting. It kills momentum. Discipline builds momentum. And once momentum builds, something remarkable happens. Your feelings begin to align with your actions. When you act consistently, progress appears. When progress appears, confidence grows. When confidence grows, motivation increases. But it all begins with discipline. You cannot wait for motivation to begin. You must begin to feel motivation. And that takes strength. But here is the good news. Discipline is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. At first, it may be difficult to act against your feelings, but over time, it becomes part of your identity. You become someone who follows through, someone who does what needs to be done. And that identity is powerful because the world respects consistency. Employers respect it. Clients respect it. Families respect it. Most importantly, you respect yourself. Self-respect grows when discipline leads. So here is the challenge. Stop negotiating with your emotions. When it's time to work, work. When it's time to learn, learn. When it's time to practice, practice. Not because you feel like it, but because you are committed. Let feelings inform you, but never allow them to command you. Your ambitions are too important to be controlled by temporary moods. If you want a life of achievement, you must build a foundation of discipline. And when discipline becomes stronger than emotion, your ambitions will finally have the leadership they deserve. One of the greatest battles you will ever fight is the battle between comfort and commitment. Comfort says, take it easy. Commitment says, stay with it. Comfort is seductive. It whispers softly. It promises relief. It offers immediate satisfaction. And most people, without realizing it, build their lives around avoiding discomfort. But ambition does not grow in comfort. It grows in commitment. If you study successful people long enough, you will discover something interesting. They do not always feel excited. They do not always feel energized. They do not always feel inspired. What they have learned to do is honor their commitment long after the excitement fades. You see, starting is exciting. Announcing a goal is exciting. Planning is exciting. But the daily grind, the repetition, the slow progress, that's where comfort begins to negotiate. Comfort says, you've done enough for today. Commitment says, do what you said you would do. And that small difference in response changes everything. Most people live by what they want now. They want to relax now. They want pleasure now. They want ease now. But ambition is about what you want most. And what you want most rarely aligns with what feels easiest in the moment. If you want financial independence, it will require sacrifice. If you want excellent health, it will require discipline. If you want mastery in your field, it will require practice when no one is watching. Comfort and growth cannot occupy the same space for long. Now, don't misunderstand me. There is nothing wrong with rest. There is nothing wrong with enjoyment. But there is something wrong with allowing comfort to become your compass. Because if comfort becomes your compass, you will avoid every opportunity that demands effort. An opportunity almost always demands effort. Commitment, on the other hand, is a declaration. It says, I have decided. And once you decide, you remove negotiation from the table. The problem with many people is not that they lack ambition. It's that their ambition is conditional. They say, I'm committed as long as it's convenient. I'm committed as long as it's comfortable. I'm committed as long as it's easy. But real commitment has no such conditions. It says, I will do this whether it is convenient or not. That's power. When you wake up early to work on your goals while others sleep, that's commitment over comfort. When you save money instead of spending impulsively, that's commitment over comfort. When you continue learning after a long day, that's commitment over comfort. Those small decisions may not look dramatic in the moment, but compounded over time, they create extraordinary results. Comfort produces average. Commitment produces excellence. And here's something you must understand. Comfort is addictive. The more you give into it, the stronger it becomes. The more you choose it, the weaker your ambition feels. Slowly, quietly, without you noticing, your standards begin to drop. You tell yourself, it's just today. But just today, repeated often enough, becomes a habit. And habits shape destiny. Commitment works the same way, but in the opposite direction. Each time you choose discipline over comfort, you reinforce strength. You prove to yourself that your long-term vision matters more than short-term relief. That builds confidence. Not the loud kind of confidence, not the boastful kind, but the quiet confidence of someone who knows they can trust themselves. And self-trust is priceless. Because when you trust yourself to follow through, your ambitions become believable. They stop being wishes and start becoming plans. Many people abandon their goals not because the goals are impossible, but because the path is uncomfortable. Growth stretches you. It exposes your weaknesses. It demands patience. It asks for consistency when results are slow. Comfort says, this feels awkward. Stop. Commitment says, this is how you grow. Continue. Every level of success requires a new level of discomfort. If you want to earn more, you must become more. If you want to achieve more, you must stretch more. If you want to lead, you must grow beyond your current limits. And growth is never comfortable at first. The gym is uncomfortable. Public speaking is uncomfortable. Starting a business is uncomfortable. Changing habits is uncomfortable, but remaining the same is costly. And the cost of staying comfortable is regret. Years from now, you will not regret the effort. You will regret the hesitation. You will regret the moments when comfort persuaded you to shrink your ambition. So you must train yourself to recognize comfort's voice. It will sound reasonable. It will sound logical. It will sound protective. But ask yourself this question. Is this choice moving me toward what I want most, or just giving me what I want now? That question will clarify your path. When you consistently choose what you want most over what you want now, something remarkable happens. Your standards rise. You begin to expect more from yourself. You begin to operate at a higher level. You become someone who honors commitments instead of chasing convenience. And that identity changes your future. Because success is not built in grand gestures. It is built in daily decisions. The decision to study instead of scroll. The decision to practice instead of postpone. The decision to persist instead of quit. Each time you choose commitment, you cast a vote for the person you are becoming. And over time, those votes shape your character. Ambition demands maturity. Maturity is the ability to delay gratification. It is the strength to endure discomfort for a greater reward. It is understanding that today's sacrifice creates tomorrow's freedom. Comfort asks for ease today. Commitment builds ease tomorrow. So if you truly want to rise above average, if you truly want to fulfill your potential, you must become comfortable being uncomfortable. Not recklessly, not foolishly, but intentionally. You must accept that the path to greatness will challenge you. And instead of resisting that challenge, you must embrace it, because on the other side of disciplined commitment lies growth. And on the other side of growth lies achievement. Do not let comfort quietly steal your ambition. Choose what you want most. Honor your commitments, and let your long-term vision be stronger than your short-term feelings. That is how extraordinary lives are built. One of the most powerful skills you will ever develop is not salesmanship, not management, not even leadership. It is emotional mastery. You cannot control the economy. You cannot control other people. You cannot control unexpected events, but you can learn to control your responses. And that ability will determine the direction of your life. Now let's be honest. We all feel fear. We all feel doubt. We all feel frustration. Anyone who tells you they don't is either pretending or unaware. The question is not whether you will experience negative emotions. The question is, who is in charge when those emotions show up? Emotional weakness says, because I feel it, I must obey it. Emotional mastery says, because I feel it, I must manage it. There is a big difference. A person without emotional control will let a bad morning ruin their entire day. A person with emotional strength will say, that was an event, not my identity. Your emotions are signals. They are not commanders. Fear is a signal. It tells you something matters. Doubt is a signal. It tells you you're stretching beyond your comfort zone. Frustration is a signal. It tells you growth is taking place. But if you treat these signals as stop signs, you will never advance. The weak say, I'm afraid, so I won't try. The strong say, I'm afraid, so this must be important. That shift in interpretation changes everything. You see, emotional mastery begins with awareness. You must become aware of what you are feeling without being controlled by it. Instead of saying, I am discouraged, say, I feel discouraged. That small language shift reminds you that feelings are temporary states, not permanent identities. You are not your emotion. You are the thinker observing the emotion. And once you understand that, you gain power. Many people allow one emotional setback to destroy weeks of progress. Someone criticizes them and they shut down. A plan doesn't work and they quit. A result is slower than expected and they abandon the goal. Why? Because they let emotion override reason. Emotional mastery means pausing before reacting. When anger rises, pause. When fear rises, pause. When disappointment hits, pause. In that pause lies your power. Because reaction is automatic. Response is intentional. And success belongs to those who respond intentionally. Now, let me share something important. Emotional strength does not mean emotional suppression. It does not mean pretending you don't feel anything. It means you feel deeply. But you choose wisely. You acknowledge the frustration, but you keep working. You admit the fear, but you move forward. You recognize the doubt, but you keep your commitment. That is maturity. A child reacts, an adult responds, and ambition requires adulthood. If every setback shakes your confidence, your progress will always be fragile. But if you build emotional resilience, setbacks become lessons instead of losses. Think about the entrepreneur. Not every deal works. Not every idea succeeds. Not every month is profitable. If they allowed each disappointment to control their spirit, they would close their doors within a year. Instead, they learned a separate event from identity. Failure is an event. It is not a person. Mistakes are experiences. They are not definitions. Emotional mastery allows you to say, that didn't work. What can I learn? That question transforms frustration into growth. Another powerful element of emotional mastery is patience. We live in a world that rewards speed, but success often rewards endurance. Impatience is emotional. It wants results now, it wants proof now, it wants validation now. But growth takes time. The seed does not become a tree overnight. It grows underground first. And many people quit during the underground phase because they cannot see progress. Emotional mastery allows you to trust the process. It allows you to work without immediate applause, to build without constant reassurance, to persist without visible rewards. That kind of stability is rare. And because it is rare, it is valuable. Your emotions will test your standards. On hard days, you will feel like lowering your expectations. On difficult weeks, you will feel like relaxing your discipline. On disappointing months, you will feel like shrinking your ambition. But emotional mastery says, my standards do not move because my feelings moved. That is strength. And strength builds confidence, not the loud kind, not the kind that needs approval, but the quiet inner certainty that says, I can handle this. When you master your emotions, you stop being easily shaken. Criticism doesn't break you. Delay doesn't discourage you. Obstacles don't define you. Instead of being controlled by circumstances, you become stable within them. And stability is power, because the world is unpredictable. Markets fluctuate, people change, conditions shift. If your emotional state rises and falls with every circumstance, your life will feel chaotic. But if you build inner control, you become anchored. Anchored people make better decisions. Anchored people think clearly under pressure. Anchored people lead effectively. Emotional mastery is not about eliminating negative feelings. It is about shortening their influence. You may feel discouraged, but not for long. You may feel angry, but you choose calm quickly. You may feel afraid, but you act, and with the quicker you regain control, the stronger you become. And like discipline, emotional mastery is a skill. It improves with practice. Every time you choose patience over frustration, you grow. Every time you choose courage over fear, you grow. Every time you choose persistence over discouragement, you grow. Over time, those choices compound. And one day you will look back and realize something extraordinary. The situations that once overwhelmed you no longer do. That is growth. That is maturity. That is personal power. When you master your emotions, you master your direction. And when you master your direction, you gain control over your destiny. Because life will always test you. The question is not whether storms will come. The question is whether you have built inner strength strong enough to stand in them. Emotional mastery is that strength. And those who develop it rise above the average, not because they avoid difficulty, but because they refuse to be ruled by it. Greatness is not built in dramatic moments. It is built in daily routines. Most people are fascinated by big breakthroughs. They admire the grand opening, the championship trophy, the public recognition. But what they do not see, what they often underestimate, is the quiet, repetitive, disciplined activity that made those moments possible. Ambition does not thrive on excitement. It thrives on consistency. Excitement is powerful, but it fades. Routine feels ordinary, but it builds extraordinary results. You cannot live on inspiration alone. Inspiration is a spark. Consistency is the fuel. The person who only works hard when they feel inspired will always have unpredictable results. One week they are unstoppable. The next week they disappear. 1 month they are focused. The next month they are distracted. That is not ambition. That is emotional enthusiasm. Real ambition shows up daily. It shows up when you don't feel noticed. It shows up when progress is slow. It shows up when results are invisible. Consistency is doing the work long after the excitement has left the room. Think about mastery in any field. Music, athletics, business, leadership. It is never built in a single intense effort. It is built through repetition. Small actions repeated daily over years. A single workout will not transform your body, but hundreds of workouts will. A single book will not transform your mind, but consistent reading will. A single disciplined decision will not change your life, but disciplined decisions repeated daily will reshape your destiny. The problem is that consistency feels boring. It does not give you immediate applause. It does not always give you instant results. And because of that, many people abandon it too soon. They want dramatic change without daily discipline. But life does not reward intensity. It rewards persistence. Let me tell you something important. Average people focus on results. Successful people focus on habits. Results are outcomes. Habits are causes. If you manage the cause consistently, the effect eventually takes care of itself. Imagine a man who plants a seed and digs it up every week to check if it's growing. He will destroy it. Growth requires patience and steady care. Your goals are the same. Water them daily with action. Protect them daily with discipline. Nourish them daily with learning. And then allow time to work in your favor. Consistency builds trust. It builds trust with others. Because people know they can depend on you. It builds trust with yourself. Because you know you will follow through. And self-trust is the foundation of confidence. Confidence does not come from shouting affirmations in the mirror. It comes from evidence. Evidence that you keep your promises. Evidence that you show up. Evidence that you stay committed. That evidence is created through consistency. Now, consistency does not mean perfection. You will have off days. You will make mistakes. You will stumble. But consistency means you return quickly. You don't let one bad day turn into a bad week. You don't let one setback turn into surrender. You reset. You refocus. You continue. That ability to continue is rare. Most people stop when it becomes inconvenient. They stop when it becomes repetitive. They stop when the excitement fades. But the ones who rise, the ones who achieve greatness, understand something powerful. Repetition is not punishment. It is preparation. Each time you practice your craft, you sharpen it. Each time you stick to your routine, you strengthen it. Each time you choose discipline over distraction, you reinforce it. Over time, what once felt difficult becomes natural. Consistency turns effort into habit, and habits reduce resistance. The first time you wake up early, it is difficult. The 10th time, it is manageable. The 100th time, it is part of who you are. That is the magic of repetition. Your identity is shaped by what you do repeatedly. If you repeatedly delay, you become someone who procrastinates. If you repeatedly follow through, you become someone who executes, and the world responds accordingly. Here is another truth consistency compounds. Just like money earns interest, disciplined actions earn progress. One day of effort may not show visible results, but 1 year of effort absolutely will. Compounding is invisible at first, then undeniable later. Many people quit during the invisible stage. They say, nothing is happening. But something is happening. Skills are developing. Character is strengthening. Habits are forming. Foundations are being laid. You may not see the building yet, but the groundwork is being poured. Stay with it. Greatness is not built by occasional bursts of excellence. It is built by steady commitment. Imagine two people. One works intensely for a week and then rests for 3. The other works moderately every single day. At the end of a year, who will have made more progress? The steady one. Because consistency beats intensity every time. You do not need to be extreme. You need to be steady. Steady reading, steady training, steady learning, steady improving. Those small deposits create large withdrawals later. And here is something else. Consistency simplifies life. When you have routines, you remove unnecessary decisions. You don't debate whether to work. You work. You don't debate whether to practice. You practice. Decision fatigue disappears when habits take over. That frees your energy for creativity and growth. Inconsistent people are constantly negotiating with themselves. Consistent people have already decided. And that decision is powerful. If you want to separate yourself from the crowd, do not chase excitement. Chase discipline. Do not chase dramatic leaps. Chase daily steps. Do not worry about being extraordinary today. Focus on being consistent today. Because when you string enough consistent days together, extraordinary becomes inevitable. In the end, your life will not be defined by what you did occasionally. It will be defined by what you did consistently. Your income reflects your consistent habits. Your health reflects your consistent choices. Your character reflects your consistent behavior. So guard your daily routines carefully. They may look small. They may feel repetitive, but within them lies your future. Stay steady when others stop. Stay disciplined when others drift. Stay committed when others grow bored. Because greatness is not built in a day. It is built daily.